In the business world, image is a primary key to success. Image can be a facade, or it can be a window to the soul.
An external image actually can portray an internal image. So image is many things to many people, but we only have 30 seconds to make an impression. 30 seconds you determine if you even like the person sometimes by the external image. Can be wrong, but that's the way it is.
It's the difference between a closet full of unworn clothes and freedom.
I would see women and I would think, how did they do that? I did not understand how. I just thought, well, it's a miracle, or they just were born with it. I didn't know you could learn it. I sure didn't think I could learn it. And I would just say, well, gosh, that's amazing. And I would look at women and I knew who had it together, but I didn't know how they did it.
Image can mean the difference between success or failure.
I think it's very important the way you dress and the way you present yourself when you do any kind of business. And more important in our business because we're talking one-on-one with people, we're in front of a crowd, and when you feel good about the way you look and the way you dress, and you know that you're color coordinated, then I think you're going to speak better.
According to these three women, your image is the crowning touch. Betty DeHaven, Ruth Milliron, and Sue Capellan have inspired thousands of men and women across the country to dress their dreams. Director of the Crowning Touch since 1988, Betty DeHaven is the author of Altogether You, curriculum developer for image programs, and has trained thousands of women worldwide. Her love to build women's self-esteem, her communicative style, warm, sensitive, and fun-loving.
We realize that today it takes more than a quality product to be successful. And so therefore, our question that we like to ask people is, do you realize that 55% of your influence and power with people is directly related to this, to your image? And that 38% of that power and influence comes from your voice and your enthusiasm, your love of people, even your body language. And only 7% of your influence or power with people has to do with your knowledge of your material or the content.
Betty's sister, Ruth Milliron, is the author of Spring and Fall Fashion Perspectives, the owner of a line of full-service beauty salons, and an image consultant for companies like Merrill Lynch and Mid-America Banks. Her love? To create an individual's personal look. Her communicative style, confident, humorous, and sensitive.
And like it or not, we judge the world by visualization. Our acceptance or rejecting of any particular or given situation is a visual before anything else. It's much easier for a man to achieve a positive look than it is for a woman, by far. With men, even from children on, are programmed to project themselves. They are lifted up in a different manner, and women are, and it has nothing to do with men are greater and women are less. It's just that we, being developed to be feminine, then have to learn that we develop and express ourselves through clothing.
Sue Capellan is a personal image consultant with Princess Cruise Lines, banks, corporations, and plastic surgeons, and has done wardrobing for the TV series Designing Women. Her passion? To build a sense of personal self-worth. Her communicative style? Animated, warm, and enthusiastic.
So when people don't deal with their image, then they lose something in the freedom to be who they are, which affects their business, affects their family. Men have a natural strength in business, and if they use their image and the colors, and they use their style and their detail, that powerfulness will move forward. And the power doesn't have to be intimidating. It's just a charisma. It draws people to you, and that's one of the things that we talk about a lot. And I've come to understand is that your image is something that draws people toward you.
Together, they are the crowning touch. By incorporating the 5 C's, consistency, color, contour, classiness, and cost, you too can dress your dreams.
because of our multi-occasional lifestyles. I mean, we have casual, we have formal, we have all sorts of occasions in our day and in our life that we need to think about. It's extremely important that we remain consistent. And the reason for that is it says we have a quality life. We're building a quality life. So consistency means whatever occasion we're in, we remain very consistent, put together in our look.
I used to say there were 6 people in my closet because I'd have dresses that were real frilly or blouses that were real frilly and slacks that were real sporty, and it didn't go together. So once you find out your personality in clothing, then you just shop in that, and then every matches all the time.
And consistency means buying the best quality you can afford for the amount of money that you have to spend. A consistent look can never be achieved with a closet full of confusion. You've got to have a few nice things, then you can create a consistent look.
And there has to be a plan, and a plan deals with quality. Quality deals with consistency, and consistency deals with the choices of correct style, of the correct colors that are going to flatter us the very most. It deals with putting that together on a daily, or I should say a day in, day out process. In other words, I should have a consistent look, no surprises. I create a style that is mine, that I would look that way at 10 at night or at 8 in the morning. It's my personal style.
Because it takes effort. It takes effort to look great. It takes effort to build a life. Anything worth doing is worth doing well. So when you put effort into your look, we subconsciously say something to people. We talk about our trustworthiness, and in this business it's extremely important that people can trust who we are.
You can't cheat your image. It's an investment. But it doesn't mean that you have to spend top dollar. You know, you can have a less expensive garment if it's finished well. And part of being finished well is good fit. I would rather see you spend $300 on a suit than $7 or $8 or $9 or $1,000 and have it well tailored to your body structure and have $1 million look. I think it's paying attention to detail. It's not just the suit, but it's other things. And when you're starting out and getting started on a budget, pay attention to accessorization. Gentlemen, women do that, certainly, but men need to do it. We do it with things like glass frames, using glass frames in a situation, that they're current, that they're uplifting, that they're flattering, that there isn't discoloration in the frame or the tint of the glass. How about a hairstyle? All of us, men or women, our hair changes throughout our life. We need to change our hairstyle to accommodate that, to be current, to be attractive and finished. Whether it's a man positioning a different level in his part so that his hair, as it changes in life, lays appropriately or whatever. A man should have his hair styled, not cut. It's other things. It's finishing of hands. You know, we talk, and I can't talk without my hands. If I'm on the telephone, I'm talking away with these. All right. Now that. Oh, thank you very much. But it's not whether we have polish on our nails as a woman. It's how our hands are finished. It's how they look. It's not too much distraction in terms of rings. Good rule of thumb in a professional situation, it's 1 ring per hand if you wanted to get technical, man or woman. Our nails, they should be even in length. They should be clean, refined finish. And if we looked at all 3 of our hands, they're very, very different. Sue chooses to wear a clear polish, and that's what I recommend for women that don't have time and don't want to fuss. If you can't have polish on, ladies, and have it be finished, looking sharp, and like it's just been done, don't use it, don't wear it. A clear coat is fine, but they should be finished. Gentlemen, the same thing. A finished hand, finished nails are important. And ladies, one more point, not long nails. A nail should not be longer than half the length of a nail bed for a woman. In a man, you should only see a light trim of white nail, and then it's finished.
The other thing that is very, very important are shoes. And the shoe on a man can make or break his look. Male or female, really, that is true. It needs to be well polished. The soles need repair. In fact, men really should have at least 2 good pair of professional shoes for his wardrobe. And depending on his build, whether he's heavier, more mature, or whether he's a slighter frame, more trim, it should be in proportion to his body frame, actually. And has to do with his color spectrum. If he's wearing basically navy and cool-oriented colors, you could choose black, you could choose cordovan, you could choose the more brown or dark brown shades. The shoe, though, really enhances the image. It really gives it the richness. And if we knew how much, whether it's in a professional state or casual, our feet are very important, and the shoe selection is very important to the professional part of our image, and it upgrades the quality of our garment and our look and creates balance. It can reveal our personality as well. The briefcase should be a leather briefcase. The black is really the most professional briefcase. Usually men, in starting out, and $150 is what they should plan to spend on a briefcase. Now you can find them at all price points, but $150 with a thicker leather, which is not worn, it should be able to look well kept and maintain the longevity of wear. The belt should be a leather belt, you know, not the fabric belt. It shouldn't have a lot of worn buttonholes in it. I mean, the safest way to do it is to choose your shoe and your belt combination. And then I encourage men in the professional setting to choose their belt, their wallet, and the same leather good. So when they pull it out, everything coordinates. It says, I'm put together, I'm organized.
Men need to understand, first of all, that color has an appropriateness for them. When they choose a suit for business, they're looking for a color that's going to be appropriate, that's going to say, I'm credible, I'm trustworthy, I command a certain amount of authority, and of course navy blue, apart from black, is the most authoritative color for a man's suit. When he's in front of an audience, he will command more attention with navy blue than he will with any other color. And if he adds a touch of red in that tie, his influence with the audience is even greater at that point. So appropriateness of color is extremely important for the man. Now, as far as the color flattering him, he does not have makeup to make any additional enhancements for himself. So color is really important. And there are different shades of navy. Winters wear the blackest of navy. Summers try to find that little softer or dustier navy. Springs wear a brighter blue or navy, whereas autumns will look for a navy that has a little green in it, more of a marine blue navy. So color and its attractiveness is important, but women, I think, we as women are much more concerned with that. Men can also use the shirt and the tie. The tie becomes the arrow to his face, if you will. This is where he pulls in his seasonal colors, if you will. If he can't do it in the suit, by getting just the right navy, he can choose a tie that will have his color base or color palette involved in it. Same with the shirt. He can choose a white shirt as a winter, then if he's something, you know, in another season, then he'll look for a shirt that has an more off-white look to it, for instance, if he's in the white family. So seasonal color influence as far as attractiveness to the man is definitely important. Appropriateness is his first decision.
We have more flexibility in the color choice, as long as it's enhancing what we have done as far as our skin tone, making us look younger. In this business, you know, we need to do everything we can because people are up so long, we stay up very late, so you can look more rested and all those healthy things that color will do for you. But we have a little more flexibility, whether we choose blue, taupe, and black, or magenta, but there's flexibility in the color. The thing we have to think about is appropriateness in the look, in the style of the garment, in the length of the skirt, in what we do with our hair for the professional sense. But there's a lot of flexibility for a woman in the area of color in the professional setting.
I think we're concerned about looking young. The world today has thrust that importance upon us, and so consequently color is a wonderful tool to accomplish that. Then we must carry that through with our makeup. Makeup must coordinate. In fact, I always tell women that it's better to be all wrong in color choice than to be half wrong and half right. In other words, don't wear the wrong makeup with the right colors here, or vice versa. But if you're going to make a mistake, do it all and look put together rather than, you know, half and half.
This business, it is very important that you give to people. That is what it's all about. That's what life is all about. And when you know what colors you're supposed to wear, you know what looks good on you, you know what you're supposed to look like, then you don't have to think about yourself and you can put your mind on other people, and that's what it's all about.
Based on the part of the country you're in. For example, when you're in a part of a country like Seattle where there is not a lot of sunshine and that type of thing, gray is not a successful color, but blue is for a man to work with. So you need to do a little reading, a little research to know how to, in a positive sense, manipulate your audience where you're at. The more worldly a person is, the more, as a man, the more he'll accept diversity of color. And the more rural or regional he is, the more he's going to be much more reserved and conservative in his comfort with color.
When a dark-haired man wears a navy blue, for instance, he will look taller, slimmer, because the color will lead the person looking at that man to look at his face. His hair draws the darkness of the hair draws the eye upward. And then the contrast of his skin tone to the hair will then also be played up by the shirt, the tie, and the suit contrast. So there's an enhancement there that is created by color alone that is wonderful.
I can't say enough for how important it is to have good fit. Size, you see, we get so hung up on the issue of size, and in today's society, with the way our clothes and where our clothes are produced in the world that we live in this global society, you can't do what you did 10 years ago and count on a given size as being appropriate fit for the body. So if you focus on fit, and good fit is what I call tastefully loose, man or woman. If we're talking about good fit, there are no pulls, no lines, no obstructive views of a garment on the body. Another good fit is simply that I can move freely without having to adjust a garment. If I have to constantly be positioning and placing whatever I'm doing, it's inappropriate. Because every time I touch the human body, I subconsciously bring my power and my charisma back to me, self, and I take away my ability to project to somebody else. So no clothing should ever have to be adjusted in order to stand up, sit down, or move, or do whatever. In a general sense. Tastefully loose, good contour, good fit. That's the key. I want you first to consider the upper fit of a jacket. That's number one, that's first. The way the collar fits, it should rest against the neckline, the back of the shirt line on the jacket, soft shoulder padding in the arm's eye. Some gentlemen will need a bit more, but it should look natural, regardless of what we use. The shoulder seam should set backwards on the shoulder. As I turn down sideways, then that shoulder seam affects the fit and how the jacket actually drapes on the body frame. I want no creases across here. I want a smooth, even fit, tapering to the body contour. It's safest to use a single vent jacket based on your body style and so forth. You can use others, and we're not going to get into that right now. Let's address the sleeve line. Sleeve should fit comfortable so that you have the natural movement and ease of your arm. When you drop down to the sleeve length itself, it should be equal to your cuff line as it is with Dawn. It can rise up to allowing about 1/4 inch to show. That is the length, or the appropriate length of a sleeve. Dawn, if you'll turn, I want to address the lapels on a garment. A lapel should lie flat. There should be no attention, in other words, by any pulling, curving inward, outward. Right now, I realize that you rarely wear a jacket button, but we have a button to understand if we have good fit. That's always how you start out in a tailored process. Now, if I address this point, then I want to come down to the button. And a good way to judge a good suit is the tightness that the buttonhole is actually bound by. So take a look at that when you're making that kind of judgment. Dawn, if you'll open your jacket for a second. I also want to state that in jacket lining, a jacket lining should be in color tone with the garment. The back of the jacket should be half lined, not fully lined if you want a good drape, and it's a good indication of a good suit. Trouser-wise, what we become confused with is a trouser should hit naturally at your waist. I always say that if you ride your hips, you look like Charlie Chaplin in your trouser look. It should hit at your waist. Actually, the button of your trouser should hit right at the navel level. And by the way, gentlemen, pleats on pants are very important. I'm so glad to see them in fashion now because it doesn't matter what your weight is. A pleat will be a much more attractive fit. Don, if you'll pull your jacket back for me, I want to discuss pockets. Gentlemen, I think what we have a tendency to do is to often choose pants too tight. And the problem that we get into is pulling of fabric. It wears your garments out. It reduces the life of your garment. That pocket should lie flat. There should be no pulls, no tugs. That shouldn't have any indication of where your hands have gone in and out. That indicates good fit. As I drop down the leg on the pant, when I get to the knee area, a good safe measurement is about 19 inches. When I get down to the hemline, I should have the same equal measurement. No tapering, nothing that will change from knee down in terms of width of that pant leg. When I get to the pant, I want a soft break at the shoe. I should actually have at least half of my shoe covered up with my pant leg. And another thing, a lot of people think that you want to put a taper. That's called a continental line, but truthfully, men, because your pants will shift on your body frame, it's much easier if you keep that line horizontal to the floor level.
There's a word that describes what everybody wants. It's recognizable, you know it when you see it, it's always a compliment, and it's, you are so classy. I mean, it's an attitude that comes through in your look that says you're a classy person.
A first-class person.
And this person has always given attention to detail.
Right.
That's the only way you can achieve it, really, is giving attention to detail, head to toe. That means hair, hairstyle. That means men get their hairstyle, not just cut. That means women choose hairstyles that are complementary, and men too, to their face shape, their body proportions. The shorter we are, usually the shorter the hairstyle needs to be, and so forth. So all of those things have to be taken into account as we look at the whole issue of classiness, from head to the finish of that shoe, keeping it polished, keeping the scuff, keeping the soles or the heels replaced if that's the need.
The biggest mistake a man makes when he starts to thin, and it's a natural tendency, is to try and hide that. I listen to the stylist over and over that when a man sits down and he has the courage, the strength to sit down and have somebody style their hair, they walk away, they look younger, they look more sophisticated. It's amazing. So if they're balding, big deal. It is not an issue at all. It really shouldn't be. It does, and if a man really struggles with that, then there are some excellent professional techniques, but he has to be willing to make that commitment, a good commitment, one that he is going to spend the dollars to maintain and upkeep. As his hair changes, it needs to change. And we're talking about the assistance of hair pieces and what have you. But you're going to find in this day and age, fewer men have a desire for that. They are working with the look that they have. They're maximizing that look. And look at the percentages that say that women find men, bald men, very attractive. Balding tendencies gives a man a sense of maturity. It gives him a sense of, he is more credible. He's lived longer. He has more experience. I can relate to him. I mean, there's all kinds of positive adjectives. When a woman goes through the same characteristics, then we're in trouble. It's like a man who, when he grays, why is he distinguished and we're old? But it's true.
And I've always said that that's because a man's hair is well groomed and cut. And if a woman is graying, she must have an excellent style. Otherwise, she will look older instantly.
Man should have his hair cut every 4 weeks max in a professional setting. Every 4 weeks he needs a good hair style.
And most women do too.
Right.
Most women need to be at that salon on a 4-week basis.
It's a matter of consistency and scheduling.
That's right.
It takes work.
Taking time. Just making the discipline.
Hair loses its style after that 4-week period. It's gone. And then there's nothing there to maintain that classy look.
Since I got my hair cut shorter, I get more positive reaction. I always do, and it amazed me because like when I would go to the grocery store just out shopping, people reacted to me in a more favorable way. And the only change was my hair. It was just the same nice person I'd always been.
So if you want to grow within an organization, you want to look at who's holding the top positions very often, or who your audience is that you're appealing to. That's the reason why a trimmed, shorter hairstyle is the most successful. You can go with what's going on in fashion. Right now, sideburns for men, really that's non-existent to an extent. They will come back in fashion. The key is don't go extreme one way or the other. If longer hair is in and your hair accommodates a little length, that's fine. If sideburns come in, it's not the long exaggerated sideburn. It is a moderate, appropriately trimmed, and so forth.
One of the things a woman needs to think about, and a lot of women are not aware of it in the professional setting, is hosiery. The color of hosiery chosen, making sure that it is a finishing touch and not the focal point of your look, making sure that the hosiery is an extension of the hemline and will move well into the shoe selection, making sure that the hosiery selection texture-wise has some lycra in it with some sheer. Professionally, that is the best choice. And frankly, a control top style pantyhose with lycra is the best choice because we look thinner.
It's amazing, you know, you can purchase a garment at Kmart, put the right hose shade on with it, the right shoe shade, and you have $1 million look for you know, a minimal amount. It's all tricks of the trade. It's not a natural, it's not something we're born with, it's a learned process.
And anyone can learn it, and that's the thing.
Absolutely.
It just takes desire and follow through, but we all can learn it.
And some discipline.
And some
Not
discipline.
a word we always like, but some discipline.
Well, good taste. Making sure for a woman particularly that there are not underwear lines showing through any part of her garment, upper, lower body. I think that's extremely important. Slip, that the slip, if she's wearing a slip, is not showing in the slit of the skirt. Right now, slit skirts are very, very fashionable, and so therefore if we're going to choose to wear a slip underneath that, it must not expose itself at all. So it's little good taste details. The neckline height or lowness.
And another thing is that garments, it gets back to contour, garments should accentuate the body, but I don't want to see the body. I don't want to see the body frame or the condition of the body in terms of lines, distinguishing lines from on the torso.
Each of us sitting here, for instance, has a different style. And Sue, for instance, has a lot of romantic style to her. You can tell it in her hairstyle, the shapeliness of the garment, and so forth. I'm a much more classic individual with a little bit of that romantic. Sue is a little dramatic underneath there, too. And then Ruth has a lot more drama. We see it in her hairstyle. Anytime you can wear a severe hairstyle, and this, as she can do so well, we're looking at someone who has the ability to carry off, by virtue of the features that we have, a more dramatic look. I'd like to illustrate here for just a moment a little bit about look and personality and fit and contour to these two lovely ladies standing beside me. First of all, Ruth is the epitome of an elegant, classic personality, clothing-wise and also personality-wise. And as you can see here, a softness to her wonderful summer look, color-wise, and a very classic suit accessorized with very classic-looking pearls. With her is Bonnie, and Bonnie's the epitome of the sporty, natural personality with some drama. Bonnie loves flair, and the crispness of her linen look here is terrific with her silver jewelry, which she enjoys a little drama in those earrings and bracelets and so forth, so it gives that, that drama to that sporty natural look that she carries off so very, very well.
In men's refined dress, there's always good taste, regardless of what's going on in fashion. A man does not expose hair on his body. He shaves his face. We always talk about the whole issue of do we have a mustache, do we have a beard, what is successful communication, and we're not going to touch upon that at the moment. But it is things. If a man sits down and relaxes and crosses his leg, you do not see skin or body hair. That's why we wear long sleeves and not short sleeves in a dress situation with a man. It's because I want to see the finish of cuff line, but not the finish of wrist, skin, or hairline.
And the color, again, coming back to color, the sock should be an extension of the pant leg, color-wise. Not some off colors, just something off the wall to match his tie or the shoe even. But it should be an extension of the pant leg.
A man can go to a discount store and buy an $11 shirt and have it starched and well pressed and laundered. It's worth the money to do that, to create the finishing look. It makes you look like you care about yourself.
When you have a classy feel, you have a classy speech. When you have a classy feel, you are going to portray in your visual, facial, visual, and every action that you do, you're going to portray the success that you really are. It seems to enhance what's inside of you when you're good on the outside.
Square silk ties are the best and most professional. 100% silk is the best. And you do not have to spend $60 on a Nicole Miller tie. You can find them at Marshall's and many, many discount stores, garment districts, Loehmann's. Department stores have them on sale all the time. And it's best to get a selection of ties that will not only express your personality. The tie shouldn't startle you in the look, but should enhance. It should just well finish the look, the tie of the knot. It should fill the space between the shirt and the collar. It's very, very important. That makes it look very professional. As well, where it hits on the belt buckle should just touch the belt buckle. If it goes up, you look like you have some extra weight on. If it's too long, it tends to look a little dumpy. So all those things and the way it's all put together with a tie, but that can enhance or it can totally ruin an image professionally. So
the quality of a tie also has a lot to do, and it's not the cost of the tie, it's the workmanship of the tie. The better the workmanship, the better the quality, the more the tie will stay in place and the man doesn't have to keep adjusting that tie. Have you ever watched some men that constantly are pulling their tie together and moving it into position? It's a poorly constructed tie that causes that to occur more than anything else.
And some of the silks are very shiny and slippery, and they've got too much light refraction on them and reflection, so therefore it's very distracting. Your more subtle, softer lusters on the silks are the much richer ties.
Confusion with the whole issue of cost in relationship to classiness. I think we believe that in order to really have a classic look that we have to be able to have the money to spend, and our goal is to work to have that money so that we can create that classy look, and that's the wrong approach. I said earlier that it's important that we are our best investment, and whatever we want to achieve, we've got to invest in self first. There are many people who don't think they're worthy of spending the money, or that other things should take the money first. Do be careful of that. I think it's important to, if you live by a budget, then there should be a budgeted amount of money taken aside that will focus on updating and keeping yourself current. For a man, it's easy. He can do it in his details, in his finishing points. I would rather see a woman or a man own 2 pairs of glasses than a new suit, many a time, because they can express themselves through glass frames, and 65% of all people wear glasses. And 65% of all people look better in glasses than out of them, if
they're the right ones.
If they're the right ones. So glasses, accessories become a very important investment. I can't state enough. Please do not think that the price tag or the designer is going to be the indicator of the quality, because it is not. If you read the consumer reports that have come out in recent times, go to the library, if nothing else, and pull the articles out. There was an excellent article done in September of '92 on the whole ability to choose a good suit, man or woman. Excellent. And it was amazing that places like J.C. Penney's came out with some very high ratings with some of their suits, as well as some of the top designers available in the marketplace.
My mother did not believe in makeup, and so I knew nothing about image and always wanted to. And I thought if I had more money, I could look better. But then I just found out I had more expensive mistakes.
It's not how much we have, it's the choice that we make with the amount of dollars that we have to spend. It's buying the best quality you can buy for the amount of money you have. It's having a few good looks that every time you get, we wear 80% of the time, 20% of the clothes we own. If that's true, then why not maximize that 20%? That's what most of us do here. I have fewer clothes today than I did 10 years ago. I feel better about myself today, day in and day out, than I did 10 years ago. Man or woman, it makes no difference.
Image is a process built on a solid foundation over time. By applying correct principles, anyone can reap their heart's desires, whatever they may be. All it takes is dressing your dream.
These three guys were going to rob a bank, and they decided to dress the one up as a policeman out in front. So the two went in to rob the bank, and so the one is out there in front, and he's feeling real nervous, and a little old lady went by and said, "Hi, Mr. Policeman." He felt real nervous. He looked around, and pretty soon a little boy came by and said, "Hi, Mr. Policeman," and then he realized it was his uniform that they were responding to. So he started rocking back and forth on his heels and swinging his stick, and more people going by and say, "Hi, Mr. Policeman." He says, "Hi, nice day," and all this stuff. Well, about then, the two guys, buddies, come running out of the bank with the money, and he pulled his gun and shot both of them. So I think to an extent, clothes do make the man, or for sure create that image.
But I want to tell you that it is not just ladies. Men ought to be concerned about the way they dress and the impact upon the crowd. I think that I will speak better when I am in my color, or when I am coordinated, when I have the right tie or the right suit and the shoes match. So it's important for you, as one of your preparations for going to speak or talk to someone, is to not just grab something and put it on, but make sure it's put together.
I dress the way I want to be perceived, but I also have to understand that in the circumstance of the business, you need to be perceived as believable, as credible, and that can be accomplished through dress.
We need to dress our dream. We all, like Ruth said, I think we're so often of the mindset that when we get there someday, when we reach that dream, that goal in life, that financial level, then we can look great. We will be much more successful and much more quickly if we begin to dress like the goal that we want to achieve today. And we teach that all the time because that's so extremely important. I mean, it's interesting because I have often been asked if I'm a diamond in the business because I dress like one.
For more information regarding Crowning Touch seminars, please contact your upline.